everybody.
Hello.
All right. Welcome to this episode of
The Drunken Library.
In case you don't remember, I'm Sam.
I'm Amber.
And this week, we are going to be talking about The Hunger Games. Many of you have heard of it.
It's
by
wonderful.
Suzanne Collins. It was published in 2008. And it's pretty awesome. We're going to talk about it a little.
So basically, the premise of the story is it's set in a dystopian future setting. What was previously North America is now Panem,
I think is how they want it pronounced.
In the movie, it's Pan Am, and I was like, "There's no A there."
That's an airline, whatever. And but it's Panem would be the pronunciation because it's a Latin word which means bread. I know, and and that's one of the many like references to the Roman Empire that they make.
There's quite a bit.
Lot.
So it's in Panem.
It's cool. Just say it, however.
Whatever. Words. And so there's like the capital, which is sort of like a sort
Rome.
of
It's the city of Rome, essentially.
It's a shout out to that.
And then there are these 12 districts like
Scattered.
surrounding it,
Mm-hmm.
and the further you get away from the capital,
the more poor,
the more like impoverished and poor and like shitty everything is.
Yeah.
And they're supposed to be like the areas that the Romans conquered.
So like each district is responsible for a different like good or service
industry,
that
whatever
the capital takes advantage of. And
our main focus is District 12.
Yeah, that's where our
heroes hail from.
Katniss and Peeta.
And
The book's actually told from Katniss's point of view, and she talks about how people are starving to death in District 12.
Which is ironic because the word panem in Latin means bread. And it's part of this phrase, panem et circenses, which means bread and circuses, which is how the Roman Empire used to keep people from rebelling against them.
Yep. Let's give you food and entertainment so that you like us, and then you won't try to rebel against us.
Which backfired a little.
Kind of a bit.
It's fine.
But then that's what the capital does in the Hunger Games is because
they moderate the food. They choose when people eat, how much they get. And they kind of use that in a way for the circuses part of it, which is the Hunger Games itself, where they take 2 kids from every district, a boy and a girl, every year, put them in some unknown environment, and make them fight to the death.
And then they all die, except one.
Right.
Usually.
More on that later.
Uh-huh.
But the Hunger Games themselves is a way to show power and to keep the districts from rebelling because the capital can make them go through this. It's also kind of a reference to the Colosseum in Rome.
It's most definitely a reference to the Colosseum in Rome, where people fought to the death all the time.
To the death, and didn't know what they were fighting, what they were going to have as weapons, how it was going to be.
Another person, a lion, other things.
Person and a lion, several lions.
Sounds like a party. A really, really horrible
This
party.
is the story of the Hunger Games on a certain year.
Katniss is from, basically, District 12 is split up into 2 main parts. There's the merchant class, which are
They're a little better off. They have a little bit of money. They sell things to the capital.
Mm-hmm. And then there's the seam, which is mostly
miners, coal miners, and their kids and families. That's where Katniss is from. Peeta's from the merchant class. His dad's a baker.
Yep. Bread is good.
Bread is good.
A theme.
Lots of bread. Bread comes up a lot.
Not bread now.
But so there's 2 parts of the seam. The seam is where Katniss is from, of District 12. And Peeta has a little more food. He has a little better upbringing. Katniss...
So it's still, like, stale bread.
It's, like, stale and shitty.
Like, yeah, they don't... Everybody is...
But Katniss kind of has to provide for her family.
Yeah. So she actually learned how to hunt from her dad, and she goes out in the woods. She kills stuff, and they eat it.
Yeah, she goes out there with...
things.
She hunts and gathers. She's it's very evolutionary kind of situation. But she goes out there with her friend Gale all the time, who after her dad died kind of took his place. He became her hunting partner and kind of helped reassure her that she was doing the right thing.
Yeah, they both
kind of stuff.
They pooled their resources and they both hunt and
they learned
split the
from
spoils.
Each other. Yeah,
they both supported both of their families.
Yeah. And Katniss's family is at this point just her mom and her little sister Prim.
And Prim is the only person that Katniss is sure that she loves at this point.
super sweet, but it's also super depressing.
It's really sad.
Yeah.
More
I need
boobs.
more boobs. You're right there? You're good? I might have made her drink a little strong.
So much alcohol.
It's fine. Whatever. And then PETA has... How many brothers does he have? He has a lot of brothers. I don't fucking know. It's like 2 or 3.
Might be 3, but
I feel like it's 3. He has 3 brothers.
At least
2 brothers.
Potentially 1 more.
Right. We don't really know.
They're all older.
It's a mystery. He's the youngest.
They're not important anyway.
No, they
Except
don't
they're all
matter.
assholes, probably.
That's true, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter at all.
His mom's an asshole, too.
Yeah, she's a bitch.
She's a super bitch.
I don't like her.
She, like, beat him up.
Because he burned bread.
Yeah. And he really only did that so he could give it to Katniss so she could eat.
Because she was dying of starvation.
It's super touching.
It's
But also, he got beat. He got
So
beat
sad.
down.
By the woman.
The woman.
The woman.
But, so...
Boozified creamer with coffee in it.
And so Prim actually gets chosen to go
into
the Hunger Games. And she shouldn't have. She should have been, like, the safest person ever in the world.
Her name
was only entered once. And the way it works is you could have your name entered. You get an additional entry every year. But also you can take out more entries if you want to get more food for your family. And Katniss did that every year forever.
She was in there, like, what, 20?
20 sometimes. And she didn't let Prim do that at all. And this was Prim's first year.
So her name was only in there once.
One time. But her name gets chosen, and Katniss can't bear the thought of that. And so she volunteers to take her sister's place. PETA's name just gets drawn.
Yeah.
And his brothers don't volunteer, which is why they are assholes.
Jerks. Anyway. I've never met them, but I'm going to judge
I'm
them
just
from
going to judge.
distance
Judging is good.
Because they're probably just jerks.
Yeah, that's true.
PETA never even talks about them. And so it's like, oh yeah, me and my brother, we had this great time together.
No,
and
never once.
Which means they're probably jerks.
But yeah. So anyway, Katniss and PETA get taken off into the world, toward the capital.
And she's all like, why is it this kid? Because he's the one that gave me the bread.
Yeah, that's
true. The boy
true.
with the bread.
She, like, feels indebted to him forever. But they are on the road going to the capital to prepare for the Hunger Games. And then they meet their prep team, who are delightful. They're delightful. First, they encounter Haymitch.
Love Haymitch.
You kind of want to hate Haymitch, but you can't hate Haymitch.
He's sassy and wonderful.
He is sassy and wonderful. Sass is big with us.
It's a pretty legit situation.
But we think it's because the way it works is he's their mentor, and he's supposed to prepare them to go into the games.
But since District 12 is so poor, and they have, like, no
resources,
food.
And their tributes are always, like, weak and hungry and sad and terrible, he has had to watch 2 kids die
every single year
for, like, 24 years.
Since the time that he won the games and became the mentor.
Because he's the only winner that District 12
has ever.
No, they've had 2, and then 1 died.
Yeah, because it was 74 years previously.
Yeah, right.
Or so.
But he's got some issues that he's trying to work through. And he drinks a lot. And it's cool.
All the time.
Whatever. He straightens up a little when he meets Katniss and PETA, and they, like, say, hey, I'm so glad you think it's funny that we're gonna die, and they, like, attack him.
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh, I've got some fighters this year.
Yeah.
Guess I'll straighten up.
Katniss might have, like, stuck a knife between his fingers on a table.
That is accurate. That's true. And PETA was, like, muscling him around. It was, like, the whole thing.
So then he's like, oh,
lists and their prep teams who
they're
are
great.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Cinna and Portia are the 2 main members of that. Their names are also Roman, because they're from the capital. And you'll notice if you read the book that all the names of the people from the capital and the districts closest to the capital are like Roman names.
Pretty much Roman.
Which is kind of cool because it's like a reference to like they're the ones who are from Rome who have like a better life.
Yep.
But Cinna and Portia and their prep teams are brilliant. They're so good. They like make the District 12 tributes like favorites from the start, which is like never happens. Cinna and Portia, just brilliant. They like set them on fire, but it's not real fire. It's like, whoa!
Read the book. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's super awesome.
You'll understand.
Yeah, it's true.
Great. My hair has got some kind of situation.
You are a situation.
Your face is a situation.
So they all cut to the arena. We're in the arena. Let's meet the other tributes.
Well, it was a little before that because of the training.
Well,
center.
yeah, the training and stuff, but we don't like really learn much about any of them until later.
That some of them
are like total bitches who like only hang out together because they're the ones who've like wanted to go into the games and have been going and training for it their entire lives. They call them the careers. They're the people from like District 1, 2, and 3. Yeah. Basically.
1, 2, and 4.
1, 2, and 4. There you go.
Yeah. Stuff happens.
But, so we have a couple of tributes that actually kind of matter. Yeah. I guess that Katniss like takes note of.
Yeah. Like there's a couple that you don't really hear anything about whatsoever.
Because they die like instantly or he's a kid with a broken leg.
Yeah.
That's all you really know about him.
It's all you know at all.
And then you end up with Cato. Cato is District 1, right?
2.
2?
2.
Is it 2?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Cato's District 2. Who's one of the, like, lapdogs of the capital. Cato's also a Roman name.
Super muscular, super beefy, super enthusiastic to win the games, to be in the games, to kill people.
Totally all about
Clearly,
death.
he's a psychopath.
He's just insane. Yep. And he's, like, of note because he's the last one to survive aside from Katniss and Peeta.
And Katniss is, like, super apprehensive of him the whole time she's in the arena.
Well, because he's out to get her, because she got a super high score in training. Because she's got some guts. And so they give her the highest score of anyone in training, which is, like, crazy, because that's never happened in District 12, ever.
It's never happened anywhere.
Nobody's ever gotten an 11. Out of 12, mind you.
Yeah, out of 12, nobody has ever gotten an 11 ever in the entire history of the Hunger Games. Except for Katniss.
So Cato's, like, out to get her right from the start.
And then she, like, makes note of a couple other people, but, like, most of the careers, she sort of ends up picking off pretty quickly.
Yeah, or they end up doing it to themselves.
Yeah.
And then there's this other tribute. She's from, I don't remember what district she's from.
7?
So, I don't know. But her name, we never learn her actual name, but Katniss calls her Foxface.
Because apparently she looks like a fox.
Yeah, she's like red hair, and she's very sneaky and sly like a fox. Alright, so where were we? You're talking about Foxface, and how she's very sneaky.
Very sneaky.
And Katniss respects her for being sneaky.
Yeah. She's just, like, the whole time she's angsting about the career tributes, and she's like, oh, maybe Foxface is my real foe.
Like, they should have given her a higher score in training, because she's, like, smart.
Awesome.
She's so smart. And she actually makes it till almost the end. Which is, like, pretty cool, because she's not from a very well-known district either.
Yeah. Clearly, because we can't even remember.
And then the most important other tribute is Rue. Rue.
She's so little.
She's so adorable. And smart as a whip, that one. Yeah. She's so smart. She is sneaky like a ninja.
She jumps from tree to tree.
Yeah, like, I can't do that. I can barely jump from, like, foot to foot without hurting myself. And they kind of team up, and Katniss kind of adopts her as, like, a second little sister. But she's from District 11.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so the second poorest. So, and they succeed in burning out the career's food, but then the careers find Rue.
She gets caught in a net, and then Katniss cuts her out of the net, and then the stupid asshole boy from District 1.
Yeah, whatever his name is.
Throws it. You never know his name.
He throws a spear at her.
And kills her. Jerk.
And then Katniss gives her, like, kind of a funeral a little bit, as much as you can get in the games, because Then we get an announcement that actually 2 tributes can win this year, if they're from the same district.
Dun, dun, dun.
So then she goes to find Peeta.
Yay!
Yay!
But he's almost dying.
It's true.
Not yay.
No, not yay. But then she nurses him back to health.
For the most part. Yay!
She, like, takes big risks to get him medicine and, like, takes out a couple careers in the process and, like, does some crazy shit to save Peeta. But she doesn't think she's in love with him. Even though he's admitted to being in love with her. She's totally in love with him.
She just doesn't know.
Sweet unicorn mug, and I wanted to use it.
She has a sweet Cheshire cat mug that.
And Sleeping Beauty. They're all pretty legit. Yeah. So those are, like, the important tributes. And then Katniss, here's how you know she's in love with Peeta. At the end of the games, they announce again that 2 tributes can't live. Right? And so it's when they're the only 2 left. There can only be 1 victor. And instead of
killing him and winning.
Because
she could totally win. He's all like, kill me.
He's like, kill me. I don't want to go home without you, because he's in love with her, and he's admitted that.
Yeah.
She clearly loves him, too, because then she decides that they should both just die themselves. They should just die and be dead forever. So they're about to eat these berries. They're called Nightlock. And they're like, bad news. They're what actually ended up killing Foxface.
Because people to, like, both eat the berries, and they're gonna, like, just because, you know, he said something like, they have to have a victor. She's like, no, they don't. So, even though she's all like, oh, yeah, like, we're going to trick them. And then
then they're both going to eat, like, a handful of these berries, and they put them in their mouths.
And then they're like, no, stop.
No, just kidding. You can both win.
Yeah.
Because they can't not have a victor.
Yeah.
If they both die, the capital loses.
Yeah. And if all the people in the capital who don't understand the whole political, like, controlling factor, they're like, oh, my God, what?
So,
they'd be pissed.
Then they both win. But then, yeah. Overall, I think this was a pretty easy book to read.
Yeah, and
you fly through it. I read it in a couple days.
You can't stop, really.
You can't. It's super addictive, even though you can, like, totally tell it's written for, like, young adults.
Yeah, but
it's, like, anybody a YA book, but it's like anybody can enjoy it. It's such a good book.
It's it's in my top 10. I don't know what my top 10 is, but it's definitely
I feel like there's, like,
there.
30 books in your top 10.
No, there's probably about 10 or so.
Yeah, I mean,
haven't figured
it's
out
fine.
what they are.
It's fine, but it's definitely a really good book.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd put it in my top 10, but that's because it really, really reminded me of this other book, Battle Royale, which I read back in high school before this was published. And it's, like, a really similar book. It's in Japanese, and then, like, the government chooses one, like, middle school class every year and takes them onto an island and makes them kill each other.
Which is almost...
That's probably a good note to end it on.
I can't get up!
I killed Amber. Amber's dead. I'm gonna help. I'm gonna assist you in sitting up. There we go. But yeah, so that's The Hunger Games. It's awesome. You should all read it.
Read it forever.
Read it forever.
In the, like, 2 hours it'll take you to read it.
And then read Battle Royale. And then watch the movies for both.
Because why not?
And have a great day.
Yeah.
Bye.